Let's now discuss our Module 2 or Chapter 2 titled Evolution of Policy. Evolution of Policy. So first, we have Anglo-Saxon or yung tinatawag nating Ancient England period of policy system. So, policing was carried but under a system called frank pledge or yung tinatawag po nating mutual pledge, which every male over 12 years of age join, okay, with his 9 of his neighbors, to or a tithing men. Tinatawag din silang tithing men or yung tinatawag po nating guard noon. They were their duty is to approach any individual who violated a particular prohibited act and deliver them for a trial. So, yan yung ginagawa ng tithing men natin. Ang ginagawa nila or yung duty nila, every individual na makikita nila na nakapag-violate nung particular prohibited act or yung rules and regulations nila doon sa society nila, okay, kinukuha nila sila or dinadampot sila and dinideliver them for a trial. Anyone who failed in his obligatory was subject himself to a very severe fine. So, once na hindi nila nagawa yung obligasyon nila, okay, sila, okay, papatawan sila ng or magbabayad sila ng fine nila. This is the responsibility, okay, upholding and apprehending lawbreakers rested within the society or within the citizen. So, yan po yung tinatawag nating Anglo-Saxon period of policies and also tithing men. So, tithing men ang tawag sa kanila noon. So, next, we have the so-called Anglo-Saxon. Okay, so we have the Anglo-Saxon 600 to 1066 AD. Okay, or 166 AD. The following are the features of this period of policing. Number 1, we have the so-called tan policing system. Tan is the forerunner of the word town. Okay? Under this system, all the male residents are required to guard the town to preserve peace and order, protect life and properties of the people. Okay? So, noon, okay, lahat ng male residents ng town na yon, okay, kailangan nilang i-guard yung barangay nila or yung tinatawag nilang town. Okay? To preserve peace and order and also to protect life and properties. So, kung titignan nyo yung guard or yung tinatawag nila noong police men or women, and ngayon, yung tinatawag nating policemen or women is malaki yung pagkakaiba. Noon, kapag kalalaki ka at resident ka doon, okay, isa ka na sa mga mag-guard doon sa town nyo. Pero ngayon, we have many requirements to become a policeman or women. Okay, so malaki po yung pagkakaiba. Pero yung ginagawa nila or ginagampanin nila is iisa. Like preserve peace and order and protect life and properties. Okay? Next, we have the so-called hue and cry. Hue and cry, a system of apprehending a criminal whereby a complainant goes to the middle of the street and shout at the top of his voice, calling all males assembly. Victims report his complaint to the assembly and indicate the whereabouts of the culprits. All the male residents would proceed to the place and apprehend the offender. When apprehended, trial is conducted to give the chance the culprit to defend himself. So, kunwari, yung victim is babae at nirape siya, okay, pupunta siya doon sa gitna or sa middle ng isang daan ng isang daan. Okay? Or sa kalsada, para doon siya sumigaw. Okay? Para magtawag ng atensyon. Okay? Sabi nga, shout at the top of his voice, calling all male assembly. Okay? Para doon niya, kapag once na nandoon na yung mga nakarinig sa kanya, doon na rin siya magbibigay ng statement niya. And once the culprit, okay, or yung mga kriminal na may gawa nung pangre-rape sa kanya, okay, kukunin sila, and then they will conduct a trial for the culprit or for the criminal. Siyempre, para naman ma-defend yung self nila. Okay? Para naman ma-defend nila yung self nila. Malay mo naman, hindi sila yung gumawa. Okay? We have many ways, okay, para malaman kung talagang sila yung gumawa doon. Okay? Next. Okay? Next, we have the so-called royal judge. Ano naman yung tinatawag nating royal judge? Royal judge conducted criminal investigation and gave punishment fitted the crime. The feature started the identification of criminals. So, yung royal judge po natin is yung parang judge po natin ngayon. Okay? Sila yung nagkakandak ng criminal investigation, and also, okay, sila din yung nagbibigay ng punishment or nagbibigay ng final verdict. Ganun po yung trabaho noon ng royal judge nila. And hanggang ngayon, ganun pa din naman po. Next, we have trial by ordeal. Ma'am, ano naman po yung tinatawag nating trial by ordeal? An ordeal whereby the suspect will put into a physical challenge. When not hurt, he will be acquitted. But if hurt, he will be adjudged guilty of a certain crime. We have so many trial by ordeal. We have trial by ordeal by hot water, by cold water, by hot oil. Okay? Marami po tayong iba't ibang trial by ordeal. Okay? For example, sa hot water, trial by hot water. Okay? Yung culprit or yung gumawa ng krimen, okay? Ilulublob niya yung isang kamay niya doon sa mainit at kumukulong tubig. Once na hindi siya nasaktan or walang nangyari sa kanya, ibig sabihin, hindi po siya ang gumawa ng krimen. Kung kabaliktaran naman ang nangyari sa kanya, once na nilublob niya, napaso siya, nasaktan siya, then ibig sabihin, siya ang gumawa ng krimen. Yan po ang ibig sabihin ng trial by ordeal natin. Okay? So, kapag kumukulong tubig, mainit na tubig, sinong hindi masasaktan doon, di ba? Pero yun kasi ang paniniwala nila. Ang paniniwala kasi nila, once na kapag hindi ikaw ang gumawa ng krimen at nilublob mo yung kamay mo doon at hindi ka nasaktan, ibig sabihin, tinutulungan ka ng mga spirits. Yun ang sabi nila. Okay? So, ganyan po ang trial by ordeal na sinasabi natin. Next, we have Norman period. Okay? Sa Norman period naman, we have sheriff. Okay? Sheriff, England at the time of William Nunhon divided England into military district known as sheriff. Share is the district, okay, while Reeve was the ruler who made laws, passed judgment, and imposed punishment. Ang tawag nila doon sa district na yon is share. Pero yung pinaka mataas doon sa district na yon, ang tawag sa kanya is Reeve. Okay? Siya yung gumagawa ng laws, nagpapasa ng law na ginawa niya, and also he or she impose punishment. Siya din po ang nagbibigay ng punishment. Okay? He was assisted by constable. Okay? Tao po yan, person, the forerunner of constabulary. Okay? So, yan po yung tinatawag natin. Constable also is like a policeman or policewoman or a guard. Okay? Forerunner po siya ng tinatawag natin constabulary. Yung constabulary is the agency. Okay? Like yung PNP natin, tinatawag kasi siya noong constabulary. Hindi kasi siya, yung PNP na pangalan niya, hindi pa PNP noon, constabulary pa lang. Okay? Next, we have the so-called traveling judge. Ano naman yung traveling judge? Held responsible in passing judgment which was taken from share in view or abuses. Yan naman po yung traveling judge natin. Ang ibig sabihin naman yan, responsibility niya para maipasa yung judgment na yon or para masagawa in action yung ibinigay na judgment doon sa culprit or doon sa criminal. Okay? So, next tayo. Next, we have the so-called legislatory. Okay? Legislatory by King Henry I. This law was enacted during this period with the following features. So, we have 3 features of this law. Number 1, offensive were classified as against the king and individual. Next, policeman became public official. So number 2, as I've said, policeman became public official. Okay, number 3, the police and the citizen have the broad power to arrest. Noon, kahit hanggang ngayon naman, okay, citizen can arrest naman. Pero kapag ang i-arrest lang ng mga citizen or tayo na tao is kapag nakita natin na ginagawa niya yung krimen. In action niya ginagawa yung krimen. Doon po pwede na po natin siyang hulihin. Or kunwari napanood natin sa TV na si ganito is hinahanap at nakita mo siya, yun pwede po. Okay, pwede po natin siyang arestuhin doon as a citizen. Next, we have grand jury was created to inquire on the facts of the law. Okay, so yan po yung features ng law na Legis Henry by King Henry I. Okay? So next, we have the so-called Magna Carta or the Great Charter. Okay? So ano naman ito? Magna Carta or yung tinatawag nating Great Charter was enacted in June 15, 1215, King John of England. Enacted upon the demand of the Knights of the Round Table. So, itong Magna Carta, okay, na-enact siya noong June 15, 1215, okay, ng Knights of the Round Table. Ibig sabihin ng Round Table, para siyang mga pinuno ng iba't ibang town. Okay? At doon nila ginaganap yung pagsasabatas. The knights forced King John to sign the document which declared the following. Okay? Ito yung ipina-sign nila kay King John. Number 1, no freeman shall be taken or imprisoned, disposed, outlawed, or bowed except by legal judgment of his peers. Okay? Wala daw pong person o tao, okay, na ikukulong, huhulihin, hanggat wala pong legal judgment or final judgment na tinatawag. Next, no person should be tried for murder unless there is proof of the body of the victim. Walang tao na pwedeng isagawa ang kanyang trial hanggat, okay, walang naibibigay na evidence or proof including the body of the victim. Kapag hindi po napatunayan na siya ang gumawa nung krimen na yon, okay, hindi po pwede siyang magkaroon ng trial. Okay? So, yan po yung pangalawa. Number 3, okay? Number 3, there should be national and local government, as well as national and local legislation. Yes, meron naman po. Hanggang ngayon, meron yan. Local and government legislation. Okay? So, meron tayo dito sa local, meron din po tayo as a government. And also national and local legislation. Meron po. Magkakaiba kasi yan. Sa local, we have the kapag sinasabi nating leader of the local, we have the governor, the mayor, okay? And sa national, we have the president. Ganon po yan. Next, okay? We have the so-called Westminster period of policing, okay? 1285 to 1500s. Okay, this period has the following features. Number 1, Statute of the Winchester, okay, 1285, enacted for law and order, introduced the system of watch and ward. So, itong Statute of Winchester po siya yung nag-introduce ng system of watch and ward. Next, we have the Statute of 1295. It began the closing of the gates of London during sunset. Okay, isinasara na po nila yung gate ng London once na sunset na. And, ibig sabihin nun, yun na po yung simula ng curfew hours nila. Once na naisara ang gate, wala nang pwedeng pumasok. Kinaumagahan na lang ulit. Okay? Yun na din kasi ang simula ng curfew hours nila. Doon sa London noon. Next, we have the so-called Justice of the Peace. Okay? Ano naman yung tinatawag nating Justice of the Peace? Justice of the Peace, a position given to a respected citizen who has the power to arrest, pursue, and imprison the offender. So, ibinibigay po yan sa isang citizen. Okay? Kapag once na naibigay yan, okay, may kapangyarihan or may power yung citizen na yon na mag-arrest, mag-pursue, or mang-arrest ng isang offender. Or mangkulong, imprison the offender. Okay? Kapag binigay yung title na yan sa kanya, Justice of the Peace. Next, we have the so-called Start Chamber Court. Ma'am, ano naman po yung Star Chamber Court? It was established as a special court that tried offenders against the state. So, yan po yung mga tinatawag. Ngayon po, in present, tinatawag po natin silang Municipal Trial Court, Regional Trial Court, okay? Ayan po yung mga tawag sa kanila. Pero noon, okay, ang tawag dyan is Star Chamber Court. Special court po yan sa mga offenders against the state. Okay? Yung mga against the state, meron po silang ibang korte na pupuntahan. Okay? Special court. Doon po sila itatrial. Doon po sila magkakaroon ng trial. Okay? We have the so-called modern period in England. Number 1, we have the so-called night watchmen or yung tinatawag po nating billmen. It was created by virtue of a law passed by King Charles II in 1663. They were employed to be on duty from sunset to sunrise. Yung tinatawag po nating night watchmen or bellmen, okay? They are employed personnel na magjo-duty sila from start from sunset to sunrise. So, yan po yung ginagawa ng night watchmen or yung billmen na tinatawag natin. Okay? Next, we have the so-called bow straight runners or thief catchers. Okay? Inorganize po yan ni Henry Fielding. Okay? Tinatawag din po siyang Chief Magistrate of Bow Street in London. So, sabi nga dyan, it was organized by Henry Fielding. Henry Fielding is the Chief Magistrate of Bow Street runners in London in 1748. Okay? Later on, he formed the Bow Street Horse Patrol, whose parang ang ginagawa nila is to patrol the main roads, okay, thus secure the travelers from any kind of crime and bandits. So, yan po yung ginagawa ng tinatawag nating bow straight runners. Okay? Inorganize po yan ni Henry Fielding. Next, the so-called London Metropolitan Police. So, ano naman yung London Metropolitan Police na tinatawag natin? It was established by Sir Robert Peel in 1829, which became the world's first modern organized police force. Okay? And later on, tinawag na po siyang Scotland Yard. Noon, ang tawag sa kanya nung in-establish siya ni Sir Robert Peel, tinatawag siyang London Metropolitan Police. Okay? Sila po ang kauna-unahang modern organized police force. Okay? But later on, tinawag na silang Scotland Yard. And then, up to now, present, okay, tinatawag na po silang, okay, cop, okay, or policemen, policewomen. Okay? Sila na po yung mga yan ngayon. We have a French police system. Okay? Ano naman yung French police system na sinasabi natin? During the 17th century in France, King Louis XIV maintained a small central police organization consisting of some 40 inspectors who, with the help of numerous paid informants, supplied the government with details about the conduct of private individuals. Ma'am, ano po yung tinatawag nating informants? Informants, yan po yung nagbibigay sa atin. Okay? Nagbibigay sa atin ng report to a certain people. Okay? Parang ini-intel nila. Sinusubaybayan nila yung tao na yun para magkaroon sila ng report about that person. At ibinibigay yun doon sa 40 inspectors, okay, na inorganize ni King Louis XIV. Okay? So, yan po ang ginagawa. Pwede rin po silang tawaging private investigators. Ngayon. Okay? So, yan ang tawag sa kanila noon. Next, we have the so-called Officer DPACs or Officer DPECs, the origin of the term peace officer. So, dyan po nag-originate yung term or yung word na police officers. Next, we have the so-called Sergeant de Ville or servant of the city. Okay? These were called the first uniformed policemen or police officers. Sila po yung kauna-unahang uniform police officer. Okay, ang tawag sa kanila noon, Sergeant de Ville or servant of the city. Okay? Next, other contributions. Okay? Number 1, we have conceiving street signs. Number 2, assigning house numbers. Number 3, installing street lighting. Number 4, creating emergency and rescue services. Number 5, use of police ambulance. Number 6, use of warrant card and ID signifying authority to arrest. Yan po yung mga other or contributions nung tinatawag nating Sergeant de Ville or servant of the city. Yan po yung mga ginagawa nila. Okay? So, this is the end of my discussion for Module 2. So, thank you and God bless.